Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Thakura Vaishnava Pada Avanira Susampada Shuno Vai Hoyai Kamana Ashraya Lohiya Bhaje Tare Krishna Nahi Tyage सब मोरे अकारण वैष्णव चरण जल प्रेमा भक्ति के बोलो हार के हो नाहे बलवंता वैष्णव चरण रेणु मस्तके भूषण विनु हार नाही भूषणेर अंत तीर्थ जले पवित्र गुणे लखिया छे पुराणे शब भक्तिर प्रवचन वैष्णवेर पादोदक समन शब जाते होए वंचित पुराण वैष्णव संगे प्रेमन आनंदित अनुक्षण सदा होय कृष्ण पर संग बिना नरोत्तम कांदे हिया दया नहीं बांधे दशा के नो होलो भंगा हरे Vishnu Thakur ki jai. We'll have prayers. Today, since there is appearance day of Sripad Madhvacharya and also yesterday was disappearance of His Grace Shumati Nandan Prabhu, so in the connection we will discuss something. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता शीर्षकान्वितांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रील प्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्री गौरकरुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्ते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्ते दीनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्ध अपसिद्धान्तध्वान्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्ते विप्रलम्बरसां गोदे वैष्णवसार्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरप्रसे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते जयतां सुरतौ पंगोर्मन्दामतेर्गते मत्सरस्य पादाम्बुजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमाधः श्रीमद्रत्नागार सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ पृष्ठाले विसेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमान्नासरसारम् एवं श्रीवटतटस्थितः कर्षणवेणु स्वनिर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रेयस्पुनः तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today is the auspicious day of appearance day of Sripad Madhvacharya. Since we know our Sampradaya is also known as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So it is one of the four Sampradayas which are there. It is Shri Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya and Rudra Sampradaya. One of them is Brahma Sampradaya. And down the line there was, if we see in the list on Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, before introduction there is disciplic succession, before chapter 1. And there we find that first is Sri Krishna himself who has given the knowledge, and after Sri Krishna is Brahmaji, and after Brahmaji Narada, and then Vyasadeva, and then Madhvacharya. So since this line is connected to Sripad Madhvacharya, that is why also it is called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Now, how Madhvacharya is connected to Srila Vyasadeva, that we will be saying today also. Because Madhvacharya appeared some 800 years ago, and we know that Srila Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedic literatures long ago. So how is this connection? We will see that. So Madhvacharya was a great acharya, and we hear that whenever there is decline in the religion and predominance in the irreligious principles, then Krishna appears himself. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujami aham. Similarly, in the same line, Krishna sometimes sends his devotees also. He sends his personal associates, his devotees, his son, his messenger. And Krishna sends someone who is very intimate from his personal entourage. Just like when Ramanujacharya came, who was Ramanujacharya? Lakshman himself. Ramanuja, the younger brother of Ram, is Lakshman. Lakshman himself came as an acharya and preached. Similarly, Shankaracharya appeared. Who was Shankaracharya? It was Lord Shiva himself, incarnated as Shankaracharya. And many like this, Krishna sends his personal associates. Similarly, when around some 800 years ago, when the preaching of Mayavad had become so prominent that Vaishnavas were harassed, so much so that they would live in fear. They would outwardly appear or pose as if they are Mayavadis, they are followers of Mayavad, Advaitavad. But internally in the heart they would worship Krishna. They were Vaishnavas. So at that time they were very strongly praying to Krishna that please send someone who can give us protection from this calamity. And even to the extent that acharyas also were in somehow by the effect of time in such situation. And that time they were praying to the Lord that please send us some very powerful representative of yours who can resolve this calamity. And then Krishna sends his, as they say in Madhva line, just like we have in Gaudiya line, the topmost devotee is Srimati Radharani. Similarly in Madhva line they say that the topmost devotee of Vishnu is Vayu. And Lord Vishnu sends Vayu. And that is why Madhvacharya is not considered as, he is incarnation of Vayudev. He is also incarnation of Bhima, and he is also incarnation of Hanumanji. So there is a nice picture which is on Google. All three of them, Hanumanji, Bhima and Vayu are there, and then in front there is Madhvacharya. So Madhvacharya is considered as combined incarnation of all three, Hanumanji, Vayu and Bhima. So In the childhood, he appeared in Udupi. Actually, there is so many pastimes. Once we went to Udupi with His Grace Kamaloshan Prabhu, and Kamaloshan Prabhu also hails from the same Karnataka region, very closely associated. So he was telling so many pastimes. So I don't know how much we can speak today in the limited time. So this was in Udupi, some few kilometers, around 40 kilometers from Udupi. There is a place called Pajaka Kshetra, where there was a great Brahmana Vaishnava devotees couple staying, known as Madhya Geha Bhatta, the husband, and the wife was Vedavati. So both of them had a desire, great desire to have a son, and they were praying to Krishna very, very strongly that please give us. Actually, not Krishna also, they would go to, they were performing very austere life they were living, and they were going to a temple called, there are two temples in Udupi. One is Ananteshwar Mahadev and another is Chandramounishwar Mahadeva. Two temples are there. There is very strong presence of Lord Shiva. And they were every day going from Pajaka Kshetra to this place, Lord Chandramounishwar Mahadev's temple, and seek blessings that we want a son. And after some time, there were symptoms that Mother Vedavati was having a son in future. And such at that time, there was one person who was haunted like a Brahma Rakshasa, like haunted by a ghost. So a person comes in the avesha of a Brahma Rakshasa and he climbs on the pillar of some big pillar, he climbs up and he is shouting that Vayu is coming now. So nobody was able to understand what is this, what he's gone mad or. But then when Madhya Geha Bhatta and Vedavati, when they had son who was extraordinarily powerful, then after some time they understood that what this person meant was this, that even before the birth his appearance was heralded. Now since they have got son with the blessings of Chandramounishwar Mahadev in Udupi, should be of Chandramounishwar Mahadev. And they were staying in Pajaka Kshetra, but there is just like for the deity there is Nitronmilan ceremony. First time deity's eyes are opened. Similarly, we are Jivas and he is Krishna. But in child sanskar also, there is a tradition that first time when the child opens the eyes and then he is taken first time out of the house, first time. The similar custom with Madhvacharya, first time when he was taken out, he was taken to Chandramounishwar Mahadev's darshan. And when he was taken for darshan like this, in childhood he was named Vasudev. So when Vasudev was taken for darshan of Chandramounishwar Mahadev, while returning, they had darshan, and then while returning, they went in a big group. In the group, one of the person, the king, or not the king, but the head of the village daughter was haunted with a ghost or something. So what is to be done now? This person is vomiting blood and all the very ferocious caricatures this person is making. So what was the solution? This person was saying that this Vasudev put the Vasudev's feet on my head, and mother was also very fearful that he is just newly born baby, and how can we even think of touching this baby to such a haunted person who is vomiting blood and making very ferocious caricature and very fearsome. Our son will die or is in danger. But this person was insistent, who was invested with the ghost or Brahma Rakshas, whoever he was. So somehow Madhya Geha Bhatta had a confidence that fine, we can do this. So they put the feet of Vasudev on the head of this haunted person, and the person immediately collapsed, left the body, and then there was a liberation of this Brahma Rakshasa. Like this, from the childhood he has performed so many beautiful pastimes, very magical, miraculous things. He would play around, and once upon a time there was a great landlord who would lend out some money as a loan to people. And the father of Vasudev, Madhya Geha Bhatta, had taken some loan from this person, Kakkar Shetty. His name was Kakkar Shetty. And again this person was coming that give me money back. And they did not have any money in the home, so what to do? And one day he came and he just sat there, that you just give me money, else I will not move from here, and I am doing fasting, he said. I will not eat anything till the time you don't give me my money back. So everybody was in anxiety, And Vasudeva, small boy Vasudeva, was playing around and Madhyaki, but his father was also in anxiety. So he asked father, "Father, what happened? Why you are anxious today?" And the father told the problem, that this is problem. I said, "What is problem? Tell him to come to me." He was playing around, and both of them, this person says, why to take child's matter seriously, and why to get angry at the child? He's a child. Oh, just in a fun mood he went, and there was a tamarind tree in the what is it, the courtyard of the home. That tamarind tree is still there. We went, we saw the tamarind tree. So when the tamarind dries, then the seeds come out. With children's play also with that. So Vasudeva picked up some tamarind seeds in hand, and he told, "Okay, take this." As soon as this person opened his palm in his hand, we saw the tamarind seeds were converted to golden seeds. So like this, his date was finished, and then he went. There was once, even before that actually, when he had not even started eating anything, Madhva or Vasudeva that time had a sister, and because he was incarnation of Bhima, he would eat a lot and he would get hungry very soon. So once mother had some work, Mother Vedavati had some work, so she went out, but she told the sister, her daughter, that see, I am going out for some work and I have fed him sufficient milk, but you take care if something happens. And sister said, okay. And sister was playing, and Vasudeva was playing in the cradle, not even started walking even. And after some time, because he felt hungry very fast, after some time he started crying again, and very strongly, Vayu making sound, very strongly started crying. So his sister got very fearful, and she ran out of the home. She thought, I cannot see him alone. Only when the mother comes, then I will come. So after some time, when mother comes, then both of them came. The daughter or the sister of Vasudeva is very much panicking. She is saying that, see, he is crying very, very strongly, very ferociously, and very fearful. And both of them came inside. Vasudeva in the cradle was smiling very nicely. And mother says, see, you were saying that he is crying, he is very, very peaceful, very happy, smiling. And no, but just now he was crying very badly. And in the meantime, mother saw that he was chewing something. And now he just on the mother's milk. He has not started even eating anything. Before that, when the mother opened the mouth, there was some horse cramps. It's a ghode ka chana, what they feed to the horse. It is not the normal cramps, it is very hard, very strong. In Hindi, there is saying, they say that ghode ke chane chabana. Something is tough task, that is said ghode ke chane chabana. It's very tough task. So Vasudeva was chewing some horse grams like this, and mother became very, very worried, If the kids before they have eaten some grain, if they eat something like this, the digestion will go bad. And immediately they called the Vaidya. Vaidya came, Vaidya checked everything, pulse and everything, nadi, everything is fine, no problem, there is no problem. And when they saw next to the cradle, there was some 15-20 kg full of that horse gram, which was empty now. He had finished all of that. So that is Bhima, eating a lot. Like this, there were many nice pastimes. Once mother went to, he went for some household work, and Madhvacharya saw that there was a big pot of milk or curd which was there, and mother told Vasudeva that you just cover this pot so that some animal or something should not fall in it. It was huge. If you go there, it is like maybe 10 feet wide pot, that much wide pot. So mother told Madhvacharya that you just see that, be around, take care that no animal or something should not disturb this milk or curd. So Vasudeva kept playing in his mood, and after some time when mother came and she told that, no, I told you to take care of this, why you went away? And I told, no, I took care, you just see. And the pot was covered completely. How it was covered? It was covered with a stone slab. It means 10 feet diameter stone slab. It is thick, heavy. If you go now, still it is there, that stone slab. With it was covered. So Madhva just picked up and put it like this. He just threw like this and covered it. So like this, there are many, many nice pastimes, miracles. Now, on the other side, there are Vaishnavas who are very much worried that what will happen to our sampradaya. We need, just like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed to Krishna, that please send a ray of Vishnu, someone from your personal entourage. Please send someone who can protect this sampradaya and the future of the sampradaya. Similarly, all the acharyas at that time were praying to the Lord that please send someone who is very empowered and special, who can establish again Vaishnavism. So at that time, the acharya was Achyuta Preksha, and Achyuta Preksha, his spiritual master, I don't remember the name, his spiritual master was almost about to leave the body, but Achyuta Preksha was very strongly praying to his spiritual master that how will I be able to carry this sampradaya ahead? Please pray to the Lord that someone special is sent. And then before leaving, the spiritual master of Achyuta Preksha, he told that don't worry, very soon our sampradaya will be re-established again. Our anxiety and that worry is soon going to come to end. And in very near future, Lord's special devotee is going to appear. But Achyuta Preksha asked that, but how will I be able to identify who is this devotee? Because in Madhva Sampradaya they have system. Okay, we'll talk about it a little later. It's very nice how the Acharya is identified. So the spiritual master of Achyuta Preksha told him that very soon you will see a sight that Mother Durga sitting on her lion come and escort a child, and she will come and deliver this child to you in the temple. So you can identify that he is that special personality. So after some time, Achyuta Preksha saw, after the spiritual master left, after some time, he saw that there is Durga Devi on her tiger vehicle, coming in all the swords and all the arrangements, weapons. She has come with a child, and she is escorting this child, special child. Now the Achyuta Preksha understood that he is that child. Now every day the child was coming and visiting, was playing around. And Achyuta Preksha would take very nice care of this. He told his disciples also that you sometimes stay for a long time. And one day Achyuta Preksha was there, and Vasudeva was serving Achyuta Preksha, his spiritual master. And he did not go back to home. Then everybody in the village, they were worried that what to do now, our son is not coming back. All the villagers, they also started searching around everywhere. And somehow they got information that Vasudeva is in Chandramauleshwara temple. And there he is serving this Acharya. I don't remember it was Chandramauleshwara temple or the Matha which was there that time. I don't remember exactly. In the Matha, Vasudeva was serving his spiritual master Achyuta Preksha. And parents went, and parents were pleading, and mother, father, everybody was requesting, crying that no, you come back. So Vasudeva said that no, I'll stay here now. And mother was saying that no, but you are only son. So Vasudeva was saying that no, I want to serve my spiritual master and I want to serve Krishna. I want to dedicate my life. But they were pleading. Then again Vedavati, mother, said that no, just come, you'll have just one more brother and then you can come back, we will release you. Just have one more brother and then we will release you, come back and serve your spiritual master. Then Vasudeva agreed, they all came to home. As soon as one brother was born to Mother Vedavati, Vasudeva's son, immediately he again left, went to serve spiritual master, Achyuta Preksha. Again they came and pleading that now come back, but we have got one more son, but you are also our son, is equal. How can we leave you? Mother was crying. But Madhvacharya was steadfast on his decision, Vasudeva. And after some time, he told that I want to take sannyas now. I want to take Diksha, sannyas. Everybody was crying, and they fell at the feet of Vasudeva. And Vasudeva says, thank you so much. I said, why thank you? Vasudeva said, you just now permitted me to take sannyas. Why? How is it? We never told you to take sannyas. This is the only time the elderly person falls at the feet of a younger person, when the younger person is a sannyasi. You have given me permission. Somehow things got settled, parents went back to home, and Vasudeva was given sannyas. His name was Ananda Tirth. Earlier his name was Anand Tirth, so we have his guest Anand Tirth Prabhu. So this is the name coming from. Anand Tirth is initiated name of Shripad Madhvacharya. And after some time, when sannyas ceremony was given, sannyas was given, that time his name was given as Prunam Prajna Tirtha. So Tirtha is that suffix name title given to acharyas that time. He was a very, very great learned. Even before his Diksha, when his father would give Bhagavad Katha, he would speak pastimes of Krishna, then sometime Vasudeva would stand up and find out mistakes, that this is what you spoke wrong. Just a small boy, and he would find out mistakes, that you describe such and such names of trees, but this tree what you named, you skip the name, why you are skipping the name, give the full explanation. Then he was worried that he is already scholar. Madhvacharya or Vasudeva would also go to school, and the school teacher were also worried because he was so scholarly person, so scholarly. Sometimes he would make so much of mischief, and sometimes he would bunk school. So teacher sometime to check him and to insult him would ask that Vasudeva, you stand up, tell me what was taught yesterday. And yesterday Vasudeva was absent, but to check and insult him, it was asked that what was taught yesterday. And Vasudeva would tell what was taught yesterday very precisely. He would tell what is going to be taught today and what is going to be taught tomorrow also. So seeing his scholarliness, everybody was worried, and at the same time seeing his naughty nature also, the teachers were worried. So teachers told him, you take him away, you take away from home. After some time, Madhyageha Bhatta took him away from home, and he started giving lessons at home. But then at home also same thing happened. Like he would with his scholarliness, he would trouble his father also. So like this things went, and then he was handed over to Achyuta Preksha, and then he started hearing Bhagavatam from his spiritual master. And long after some time, Achyuta Preksha, he was also now training Madhvacharya very nicely. Just in the middle of that, how he got Madhvacharya name. His recitation of Upanishads and the Shastras was very nice, and especially he would like reciting Taittiriya Upanishad, which is very difficult to recite. That was his favorite. And once there was a debate. Somebody challenged him that if you are so much proud of your recitation, then chant 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you reach 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you have reached 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not poetic. It is prose kind of thing. It's just long lines, very difficult to recite. And Madhvacharya, in a very nice melodious way, he recited 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam very nicely. And like this, he would recite all the Shastras very melodiously. That is why he is given the name of Madhu Acharya. Madhu means sweet recitation. Madhu Acharya. And then misnomer turned into Madhvacharya. So like this, Madhvacharya, he very nicely got trained in the Shastras. Of course, he is already carrying all these things from his previous birth, not previous birth, but association with Krishna, or as Bhima, or as Vayu, association of Vishnu, like that. But just in this material viewpoint, he got trained like this in Shastras. When he was given sannyas, so in the Madhva line they have a tradition how the person is given sannyas. The sannyas is given to an acharya who is just one person. Not everybody is given sannyas. Whole line is represented by one current acharya, existing acharya. And that acharya is first thing in their Gurukul, the only selected people are given admission in the Gurukul. Only those who are born in a Brahmana, a Madhva Brahmana family, they are given admission. And after that, under the close observation of the spiritual master can identify that he is going to be the acharya, seeing his nature, his observing his kundali, that right from his childhood he has vairagya yoga, the renunciation. So similarly, Vasudeva was also observed, his kundali was observed that he is going to be. And from the childhood he is trained to be an acharya. Right from childhood he is trained to be an acharya, to be a sannyasi. So strong training. So Madhvacharya was similarly trained, and at the age of 11 years he got sannyas. And after sannyas, there is a tradition that one has to go to take bath in Ganga in the North India, some special place. I don't remember the name now. It's Badrinath or somewhere. He has to go and take bath in Ganga. But Achyuta Preksha was feeling that there was so close, strong bond between the guru and disciple. So he was feeling that how can you go away, even for a few days, but how can you go away? I will not allow you to go away. So to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master, Madhva or Purna Prajna Tirtha, he invited Ganga there. And there is a Madhva Kund, right now also there is a Madhva Kund next to the Udupi Krishna temple, where the gush of water flushed and the Kund was filled with Ganga water. There Madhvacharya took bath. And that Kunda is specially meant for the sannyas. It was made by Madhvacharya. So Madhva Kund, Madhvacharya every day would take bath there. And that is specially meant for the current Acharya. And what does it mean, current Acharya? The current Acharya who is representing. Of course, after Madhvacharya, he established 8 mathas and he appointed 8 sannyasis to carry forward the preaching mission. And earlier the system was that Udupi Krishna deity, who would be out right now. That is also interesting history how the Udupi Krishna deity came. Okay, we'll just halt here about the 8 sampradayas. We'll hear the pastime of Udupi Krishna deity, how the deity came. When Krishna was present on this planet in Dwarka, the pastimes are reverential, Aishwarya Bhav. It is not childhood pastimes. But Mother Rohini wanted to see, not Mother Rohini, Mother Devaki wanted to see the childhood pastimes of Krishna. And she was saying that, Krishna, I want to see your childhood pastimes. I never got the fortune to see your childhood pastimes. And Krishna saw that they are specially monopolized or specially reserved for Mother Yashoda, because she only has the ability to see my childhood pastimes. Nobody else can see. And Mother Devaki was still very eager. No problem, just give me some glimpse at least. I want to see your childhood sweetness. So Krishna says that no, but you cannot tolerate it. My naughtiness is very high. You cannot tolerate my childhood pastimes. Only Mother Yashoda can. For some time at least give me some hint. I will tolerate. I will not be bewildered. So Krishna said, okay, fine. When Krishna wanted to show the childhood pastimes, he turned himself from a king, Dwarkanath. From Dwarkanath, he turned himself to a small child. And when Krishna turned into a small child, the whole palace and everything also was transformed into a village. All huts and small homes of Vrindavan. And this atmosphere, in this ambience, Krishna started doing his childhood pastimes. He started breaking mud pots and butter pots, started running around here and there, started breaking everything. So Mother Devaki now, who is in the mood of Mother Yashoda, she is also very much worried that why Krishna is so naughty. And after some time, she also got fed up. She started running behind Krishna to stop Krishna from breaking everything. And Krishna is running here and there. Mother Devaki tried for some time, but now she got fed up. She got kind of frustrated. Mother Yashoda would not get frustrated, but Mother Devaki got frustrated very soon. And she, running behind Krishna, she got tired and she stood now. She just standing, huffing and puffing and taking heavy breaths. And when Krishna saw this, that Mother Devaki is now tired, Krishna is now smiling. He stood at one place and he is smiling now. And is kind of teasing Mother Devaki, that you see, you wanted to take position of Mother Yashoda, but her position is unparalleled. And now at that time, Krishna in the childhood form had 2 hands like this, standing, and one hand he had a churning rod, and in another hand he had a churning rope with which he was running. It was very, very nice form. And immediately when Krishna was in this form, Mother Rukmini appeared there. Mother Rukmini saw this form of Krishna. She requested that this form is very beautiful. This form is very beautiful. We never saw you in this form, and we want to worship you in this form. Please give us opportunity to worship in this form. And Krishna, to fulfill the desire of his foremost queen, Mother Rukmini, Krishna kind of replicated himself in the deity form like this. And that deity was being worshipped after this pastime, was being worshipped by Mother Rukmini so many years. But after all the Yaduvamshas, all the devotees of Krishna and Krishna, everybody left, that deity was there and it was in the ground. It so happened that after so many years, maybe some 800 years ago from now, there was a great merchant, very rich merchant, who was traveling, and he was going in his ship from Dwarka. He was going to some other place, but he was going when he was going like this, there was a strong storm, and in the storm his ship was struck. And this happened at a place called Malpe beach. This is some few kilometers from Udupi. This is a nice beach. We can go and take bath there. The ocean is also very nice. We can take bath. So at this point, when he struck with his ship, the merchant, Madhva, he was chanting and he was doing his devotional service at this place, Malpe beach. And when he saw that there is somebody who is in trouble, Madhvacharya, he just with his Angavastra, with his Uttari, he just waved like this and he subsided the storm, because he is Vayu himself in charge. He just subsided the storm, and this person came to shore and he fell at the feet of Madhvacharya, paid him dandavats, and he asked that, Swamiji, I want to offer you something. Thank you so much. I want to offer you something. What can I offer you? And Madhva said, I am a sannyasi. What do I need? I don't need anything. But the person was still headbent to offer something out of gratitude. So Madhvacharya said, okay, fine. If you want to give me something, then Madhva saw that in his ship there were so many mud blocks, and these mud blocks are used for balancing the ship in the ocean. So Madhvacharya told that, okay, give me those 2 blocks of mud, because it was Gopi Chandan coming from Dwarka, blocks of mud, it was Gopi Chandan. So being a sannyasi Vaishnava, he wanted Gopi Chandan. So merchant told to his laborers that, okay, pick up these 2 blocks and give to Swamiji. So many of them went and tried to pick up, but they could not pick up even 1 block. So Madhvacharya, smiling, he went and in 2 hands he lifted 2 blocks of mud, Gopi Chandan, and he started walking. And he was walking, one of the mud blocks fell there, and from there broke apart, and the deity of Balramji came out, which he established at Malpe beach, and the worship is going on even now. With another block of the mud, he went to take bath in the Udupi. He went to the Madhva Kund and he was taking bath. When he was taking bath, the mud block, the mud or Gopi Chandan dissolved in water, and from there emanated the deity of Udupi Krishna. Now this is the same deity which was being worshipped by Mother Rukmini in Dwarka so many years ago, and it was in the water, in the mud, in the grounds. And when this merchant was coming, somehow with him in the mud block, this deity came like this, which later on Madhvacharya established as the Udupi Krishna deity. And this Krishna, because the mood of the deity of Krishna here is childhood, that is how Mother Devaki saw Krishna in the childhood form. So after being established in Udupi also, the deity is worshipped in that mood, in a small boy's mood. So the offerings which are made are not chappan bhog. He is offered some good chana and moody, such things are offered, because that is what the child likes. In that mode he is offered such things. And there is a rule that no one should go with the males, the prabhus should not go with the kurtas. If you are wearing, then you are told to go out. I mean, they are not allowed to enter only. To remove your kurta and then go inside. What is the reason? That Krishna should not, no one else should have any attraction to anybody else other than the deity Krishna, because fleshy colors they attract. Krishna is in his mood. Krishna should not get deviated from his affection for mother, and others also should not get distracted from attention to Krishna. That is why there is no kurta allowed. And what the child likes crackers and all these things. So every evening, apart from the Chaturmas, every evening there is a Rath Yatra. So there are 3 chariots. One is golden, one is silver, and third I don't remember. It was wooden or something, copper maybe. I don't remember. There is a golden chariot, there is a silver chariot, and there is one more chariot. So according to the sponsorship, the chariot is taken out for Rath Yatra every evening, apart from 4 months of Chaturmas. And while the chariot is being taken out in Rath Yatra, crackers are being burned, and the Joker clones are moving around, because that is what the child likes. According to child's liking, according to this deity's liking mood, everything is done around. Sometimes there is a boat festival, child likes to go out in the boating. So like this is the mood. And that is how Madhva established this deity. And he established the worship, very devout, strong worship of the deity. Madhva, after going, he established 8 mathas, 8 disciples he entrusted to worship this deity after Madhvacharya. And just connecting back, going back a little bit. When Madhvacharya used to take bath, his disciple would not touch him directly. The tradition was that whoever is worshipping Udupi Krishna deity, he has to maintain utmost standard of purity and cleanliness, even to the extent that the current sannyasi would not touch anyone directly, at least for the paryaya time or the time for which he is worshipping the deity, Udupi Krishna deity, he would not touch anyone directly. So even if he is going to take bath in the kunda, Madhva kunda, his assistant, the servant sannyasi, disciple would come. This, I think we discussed this before. And the sannyas danda would be thrown like this, not touching directly. He would throw and give the danda pass. The disciple would catch and he would hold till the time sannyasi is taking bath, and then again same way, giving it back. He would not touch anyone directly. Even in the Rath Yatra also, when we go there, Rath Yatra also, so much of crowd is there. There is no security or crowd management, but still it is managed somehow that the sannyasi does not touch anyone directly. Utmost purity and cleanliness is maintained. And the sannyasi, he every day at some specific time he gives darshan. When we enter the temple, the sannyasi he is giving out a kind of rice and some blessings that also he gives from distance. We can take and put on the head. That is a tradition in South India. We put on the head rice. And sannyasi is considered so high, and he is so high that when sannyasi is doing chamar seva to the Lord, to Udupi Krishna, there is another devotee, he is doing chamar seva to the devotee, to the sannyasi. And we saw when we went there, Udupi, we saw the Vaishnava, that Acharya, current Acharya are established to defeat Mayavad from different angles. And the major responsibility is taken by the Acharyas of Madhva Sampradaya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took 2 aspects from each Sampradaya, and the 2 aspects which he took from Madhva Sampradaya were Sri Vigraha Seva, deity worship, and Mayavad Khandan, destroying Mayavad. So deity worship was established very strongly there. And after Madhva left, he entrusted the worship of the deity to 8 different acharyas. So earlier system was that for 8 years, one particular matha's acharya, mathadish, would worship the deity. And after that, next acharya for 8 years. And that means the worshipping the deity means one acharya will get chance after 56 years. It was a very long time. So then after some time, after Madhva, 1 or 2 generations, there was a great acharya called Vadiraj Tirtha. He changed the system and he reduced it to 2 years. 2. So after 6 years, after 14 years, the next acharya gets chance to worship the deity. And what is the meaning? What is done for remaining 14 years? They collect funds and make all the preparations so that they can worship the deity for 2 years. And what is the meaning of worshipping the deity? It is not just worshipping the deity. That means taking care of the Udupi Krishna temple altogether. Connected to that, there is Annakshetra which is happening, which is whole day Annakshetra. Anybody can come at any time and take prasadam. And so much of paraphernalia to be accumulated for worship of the Lord. 14 years are spent for fund collection and making arrangements so that they can worship the deity for 2 years. So strong standards of deity worship. So that is currently now going on. And when Madhvacharya was there, after him there were many acharyas. Madhvacharya, he travelled far and wide and he established Vaishnavism very strongly. He defeated Advaitavad or non-dualism, oneness. Actually, if you see the line, how things happened is first we see that around 1000 years back, when there was downfall of Brahminical culture, the Brahmanas were misusing the Shastras and they were rampantly killing animals on the pretext of sacrifice or on the pretext of following Vedic literatures. That time Lord Buddha appeared and told that you stop animal killing. And if Shastras are describing animal killing, then reject all the Shastras. Lord Buddha rejected Shastras. And he established Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. But now, again the Shastras are to be re-established. So that's why Lord Krishna sent Shankaracharya. And Lord Shiva as Shankaracharya, he re-established the authority of Vedas. At least accept Vedas. Okay, there is God or person, that we'll see later, but at least accept that there is God. There are Vedas and they are to be accepted. So just in the span of 32 years, Shankaracharya, just 32 years, most of us are now in 20s, close to 30. Just imagine at our age or 10 years or 15 years more, in that much span of time, Shankaracharya established the authority of Vedas so strongly, and he threw away all the Buddhism out of India. After that, Ramanujacharya came and he established that no, everything is not one, things are two. And after that, Madhvacharya appeared and he established more strongly that there is Jiva and there is Ishvara. So if you see Madhvacharya's picture, his picture is like this. In right hand, I don't remember which, but in one hand he has Shastras, Vedas. In another hand he has two fingers like this. He is looking at the Shastras. So its significance is accept dualism, that soul and super soul are two separate things. Accept dualism, else debate with me on Shastras. Else will not talk further. So that is the symbolism. So he established dualism. There is Jiva, there is super soul, Paramatma, and there is difference between them. So he travelled like this very strongly, very vigorously, and preached Vaishnavism and dualism. There were many debates like this, and he would very strongly defeat Mayavadis. Once one great Acharya came from Advaitavad Sampradaya, and he wanted to debate with Madhvacharya. So there was a debate going on, and the scholar said that he was telling that he was talking about something about Guru and Shishya. No, he was a scholar and he was trying to teach Madhvacharya. So Madhvacharya said that if everything is one, then why there is any difference between teacher and the student? If everything is one, then why you need to teach me? We all are same. Why if there is no difference, then we all are same. There is no difference in teacher and the student. Like this, he would put a very simple ground level arguments and defeat people. Like this, he defeated many Mayavadis. And that is why actually on the day of Vijayadashmi, when Madhvacharya was given sannyas, the followers of Madhvacharya, they give him some Guru Dakshina or Vyas Puja offering, the gift on the appearance of Madhvacharya. The gift is they announce that who is the biggest Mayavadi scholar who wants to debate. They announce like this, they offer some prize also, they announce some prize, this much rupees will be given. And they announce, and whoever comes forth, they debate and defeat that Mayavadi. That is their offering to Madhvacharya on the Vyas Puja day. So like this, it's very strong Mayavad Khandan. Going further, he preached very strongly, and he was travelling with so many books. He has written 37 books, among which the major are Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnay, commentary on Mahabharata he has given. He also wrote some books in Tulu language, which is local language there in Udupi, and of course in Sanskrit. Now he would travel with all the literatures, and his books were carried in a bullock cart, and there was a bull who would carry this cart. And so auspicious, so fortunate bull that he was carrying the literature. Just like some time back, one of the bull of our Sri what is that? Bullock cart traveling Sankirtan party, bullock cart party, as Prabhupada instructed, it was established. One of the bull passed away some time back. It's fortunate he is carrying Gaur-Nitai all over India. So like this, what a fortunate bull that he was carrying the literatures of Madhvacharya. So one day Madhvacharya just praised him. Such a fortunate bull that he is carrying the literatures of Lord, Granthas. So some of the disciples of Madhvacharya became envious of this bull. and he somehow poisoned. Some of them conspired and they poisoned this bull, and because Madhvacharya was glorifying. Somehow Madhvacharya was not very happy, things went on. But what happened is, it's further, after a few generations, there was a very, very great rich family in which this bull appeared. And he appeared in a very aristocratic rich family, royal family. So one day he was sitting on a horse, he was going, and then he wanted to drink water. So along with the horse he went inside the water and started drinking water like this. He did not get down from the horse. Like a bull he started drinking water, past samskaras. So somebody is criticizing, what you are doing? You are drinking water like a bull. Are you a bull? Then immediately clicked in the mind, previous memories. Then he remembered the whole thing, that how our master Madhvacharya was great, such a missionary, and immediately he remembered everything. And then he was in a rich family, everything was there. Immediately renounced same day. He took sannyas. And he was, I don't remember, he was Jayatirtha or Badiraj Tirtha, one of the very revolutionary preacher. And then he is the one after Madhvacharya, I think it was Jayatirtha. The immediate disciple of Madhvacharya was Akshobhya Tirtha, and he wanted a very, very strong missionary preacher again after second Madhvacharya, we can say, after Madhvacharya. So he trained his disciples, Jayatirtha, for becoming a strong preacher. And Jayatirtha, this is how he revolutionized, and he brought many, many changes, just like we have right now Gaudiya Sampradaya, and there are many branches. There is no difference in opinion or anything, but there is a Gaudiya Mutt, there is ISKCON, but all harmonizingly going together. But apart from that, there are some Saraswat Gaudiya Mutt and some things which are, as such, there is no difference, but still preaching. So the king said, okay, I will show you how to do it. He took all the implements and he started digging himself, and Madhva, with his mystic potency, he enamored that person. He was busy doing the digging, and all the disciples and Madhvacharya went ahead. Like this. Many pastimes like this. And one of the major contribution which he has, why we also are connected, is Madhvacharya also wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita. He wrote and he wanted to go and show to Srila Vyasadeva. So he set forth with some of the disciples, two major disciples. He went on the Himalayas, the disciples were there, and they started climbing up. And Madhvacharya, he was very confident, Bhima and Vayu, so no problem of air pressure and all that. He is confidently going. But the two disciples started having problem. And they said that, Gurudev, we cannot go further. Sorry, but forgive us, but we cannot go further. Our body is not allowing. So Madhvacharya says, fine, no problem. So he took his Angavastra and waved. Very swiftly he landed them at the bottom of Himalayas. And Madhvacharya, along with his Gita commentary, he went alone. And he offered obeisances to Vyasadeva, who is there in the Badrikashram. And he offered the Bhagavad Gita commentary. And Vyasadeva was very, very pleased with Madhvacharya and blessed him. So that was the connection. That is the connection why we have in the line first Sri Krishna, and then Brahmaji, and after Brahmaji Narada, and then Vedavyas, and after Vedavyas there is Madhvacharya. That is how there is connection, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Like this, there are so many pastimes, and while ending his pastimes, he preached everywhere, he established Vaishnavism sufficiently. After that, he once was reciting his favorite Taittiriya Upanishad, and he was sitting at the, I don't know, Chandramolishwar Mahadev Mandir or Ananteshwar Mahadev Mandir, one of the temples. He was sitting there on the Vyaspith, where he would sit and give lectures. And while reciting, it was so beautifully going, the Taittiriya Upanishad, so sweet, melodious chanting is going on of the Upanishad. So much so that all the demigods came and they started showering flowers on Madhvacharya. And so much flowers, petals, that his body was being covered slowly, up, was being covered. And at one point of time, his whole body was covered with flower petals. And all of a sudden, the chanting stopped. And the disciples were very worried, grief stricken, overcome with pain. They went and they scattered all the flower petals, but there is no one there. Madhvacharya just disappeared. That is how Madhvacharya left his body. And they were very morose, they were crying, but still they continued worship. And one day they thought that maybe we should have a deity or murti of Madhvacharya, symbolizing his presence. So on the Vyasasan where Madhvacharya used to sit, they put the deity, a murti of Madhvacharya for worshipping. It's like we have Prabhupada's murti in all the temples. So Madhvacharya came in the dream of one of the leading disciples. That I am already personally present there, sitting there, why you are putting a stone on my head? Saying that Madhvacharya is all the time eternally personally present there. Then they removed that murti and still there that representation of the Vyaspeeth, that Asan is there and the worship goes on even now. So we cannot see, but Madhva is personally present there still. There is a samadhi. So Madhvacharya like this had a very strong contribution in the preaching of Vaishnavism, establishing Dvaitavad and also establishing deity worship, which Mahaprabhu has taken from Madhva Sampradaya, these two aspects, Archa Vigraha Seva and Mayavat Khandan. This pastime goes long, many. Just after he took sannyas, he also went, Madhvacharya only once went to his home in his life. And what he did is he preached his brother and brought him also and made him sannyasi. That was the only reason why he went to his home. It's like this, many pastimes are there. One of the authorized commentary is written by Narayana Tirtha, as Narad Panditacharya or some name, who was a son of direct disciple of Madhvacharya. He has written a book called Sumadhva Vijaya, which is considered as authorized commentary, biography on the life of Shripad Madhvacharya, which we can read if you want to get more information about Shripad Madhvacharya. And of course there are so many pastimes, we will not go further. So on such days we should pray from such great acharyas that please bless us, use us as an instrument, purify, use instrument as a small tool in the preaching mission of Sriman Mahaprabhu to take the Sankirtan movement ahead. And why we hear such pastimes, Krishna says that glorification of my devotees is more pleasing and purifying than hearing my own glorifications. Glorification of devotees and hearing glorification of devotees of Krishna is more purifying and pleasing than hearing and glorifying Krishna himself. So that is why we hear the devotees of Krishna. And also, when we hear such glorious pastimes of the acharyas like this, then we also get remembrance that I am lamenting for my small issues, or I am having such a low ideas, but to which great sampradaya and lineage we belong to actually. We should be proud that such a great heritage we belong to. The Prabhupada has written one poem on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. I am trying to search that, I am not getting in some time. In one of the stanzas, Prabhupada has written that you are lion guru, but I am somehow hiding like a small lamb. You are a lion guru, but I am hiding like a small lamb, is presenting his humility. So like this, we might be very downtrodden, but our acharyas are very great. If they wish, they can empower us and use us as an instrument in the preaching mission. So we should pray to such acharyas on such days. Is there any question? Thank you so much. We'll end here. Shripad Madhvacharya ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananda Kori Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanande.